This video was brought to you by Squarespace. I've got a riddle for you. What has black and white stripes, inhabits the African savanna, and can make building your website super easy? The answer is Squarespace. Plus a zebra. Whatever kind of website you want, business page, blog, portfolio, storefront, content library, Squarespace's intuitive builder makes it all incredibly simple. You don't need to have any experience whatsoever, no coding knowledge or anything like that. My website is a simple blog, so I just paste in my text, tweak and format and embed pictures and stuff, schedule everything to automatically publish and even generate social media posts, and I'm done. It really couldn't be simpler. If you've got more complex needs, Squarespace offers lots of powerful extensions. And when you want to see how your site is doing, you can enjoy the built-in suite of extensive analytics. To try out Squarespace for yourself, head to squarespace.com for a free trial. Then when you're ready to launch, head to squarespace.com/Arlo to save 10% off your first website or domain. And now for today's recommendation, this compilation of baby elephants playing. Look at this one in the dirt. What a goofball! And this all comes from a channel called Elephant News. There's a news source you can trust. Thanks again to Squarespace. Now for another riddle. What's blue, fuzzy, and starting the video? It's me. Ooh, Splinter! Oh, I'm supposed to play something loud. Hey Google, play music. No. All right, I gotta get the Joy-Cons up. Dang, hold on. Hold on, let me get the Switch. Hold on, let me put it back. What? I turned on HDR. What's the problem? Where's the remote? Oh, yeah, mouse controls. Where's the strap? I think I got it right here. Let's just go plus my... Oh, it's upside down. Oh, that's the blue one. Come on. Oh, this is not working. I'm like a book or something. Book is too floppy. I picked the one book on the shelf with bumps on it. Oh, cool. Guess I gotta take the straps off. Mute the TV, Where's the remote? I literally just had it. All right, I guess I need a table. Oh, nuts! This is a 4K TV. What are you talking about? Where's the remote? Straps back on. Where's the blue one? I literally just... Oh, there it is. Oh, come on! It is impossible to talk about Switch 2 Welcome Tour without addressing the price, without firmly establishing how ridiculous it is that Nintendo had the gall to charge any amount of money at all for a game that clearly should have come free with every Switch 2. This is the game's entire identity. This will forever be its legacy. The only thing it ever contributed to the greater Nintendo discussion. It will act as nothing but a monument to Nintendo's utter greed. And if you ask me, should Welcome Tour have been a pack-in game? I'd say, yeah, probably, yeah. I think at least some small piece of pack-in software should be the standard. You're gonna make billions and billions of dollars from this thing. Why not give everyone across the board some tiny little thing to mess around with? Just some little tech demo to show off the hardware. It's a goodwill thing. Sony has been dropping the ball like crazy this generation, but they scored a lot of brownie points by shipping every PS5 with a copy of Astro's Playroom. Like, that really set a high bar for pack-in games in this modern age. Including a free game, it's just one of those things you do for the heck of it. You know, to at least give the illusion that money isn't literally everything. Sometimes it's just nice to do something nice for your customers. And with Welcome Tour, it's not just that we expected to get something for free. I certainly never expected any kind of pack-in software with the Switch 2. The thing is that this is essentially just one big advertisement for the Switch 2 and its features. It's an interactive instruction manual. If there has ever been a piece of software that deserved to be pack-in for free, Welcome Tour is it. So yeah, it's silly that the game isn't free, and it's a shame that Reggie wasn't around this time to kick some tuchuses and take some names and make it free as he did with Wii Sports and Wii Play. But I've also got to be honest, Switch 2 Welcome Tour is still a great little piece of software. It's not gonna appeal to everyone, but for the right person, those $10 are gonna be a much easier spend. Welcome Tour is structured precisely like a museum. Every piece of the Switch 2 and all its controllers and accessories is like its own section of a museum, complete with info and attractions and guides to help you along. The style is a little plain, but it's also very sharp and simple and clean, very much in the vein of an instruction manual. Despite the visual simplicity, though, it is surprisingly packed with personality. Nintendo's ability to, hyper-focus on a real-life experience or concept and thoughtfully explore and recreate it shines through here. The way all this information is presented to you, the way the guides phrase things, even the stuff the other guests say. It subtly yet very effectively emulates that museum experience. It's clearly been written and designed by people who genuinely love and appreciate museums and exhibits. And this works to give the impression that this really is a place that you're visiting. You're not just playing a video game, you're walking around a big giant Switch 2 exhibit. The game also makes all sorts of funny little observations about the Switch 2 and the technology behind it. There's a real sense of humanity to the whole thing. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Is that weird? I don't know, but that's how it feels. It's simple and it appears a little sterile on the surface, but it's always aware of how actual people are going to process all of this. It's acutely aware of the subjective phenomenological experience that any one person may have. And it's this quality that I feel elevates it a bit higher than just an instruction manual filled with tech demos. It feels like the developers were genuinely excited to share all of this, to get people to zoom in on all these little details and really appreciate them. And it's also a little refreshing seeing all this come from Nintendo, who has historically been rather secretive about their internal processes and mostly uninterested in cutting-edge tech. Here, they gleefully show off every little way the Switch 2 works and improves upon the idea of the original Switch. They seem to have had a lot of fun shining a flashlight on even the finest details, just inviting you to marvel at what fancy tech can do for your game-playing experience. Sure, if you want to look at it with a pinch of cynicism, you could argue that maybe they're only doing this because the Switch 2 is such a straightforward iteration that they're a little more desperate to sell us on how much better it is. But I don't know, it really does feel to me like they're just having a lot of fun with all this. And either way, I'm glad they eventually got to this point. It's a nice change of pace to see them focus not just on gameplay-enabling gimmicks, but overall raw technical quality and the end-user experience. Unlike an actual museum, there is a progressive structure to the whole thing. You explore each area one at a time, and you unlock the next area by finding all of the current area's hidden stamps. There's a stamp for pretty much every major feature, whether it's a button or a sensor or even a rubber foot. These don't pop up until you get close enough to them, so it can be a little bit tricky to track down every single one, especially in bigger or more complex areas. There were maybe one or two times I started to get slightly annoyed by that one last stamp, but for the most part, it's not too bad, and I suppose I can appreciate that this kind of slows down the experience a bit, makes you take at least a brief glance at all the major points of interest so you don't just kind of sprint across the whole thing once and feel like you've already done it all. In every section, you'll also find these insights desks kind of scattered about. Each one will give you a bunch of info, then quiz you on what you learned. And these actually are pretty darn interesting. They give a lot of fun little insights into the system and its development. Some of the obviously wrong answers are also pretty funny. But honestly, there are a lot of these, and it does feel a little bit like homework. So I've only completed a couple. I think it was probably wise to make these entirely optional. If you want to get to the real fun stuff, though, there are two main attractions here. First, there are the tech demos. These aren't games per se, as the guides will never fail to remind you, but rather interactive toys that let you experience the Switch 2's tech and features firsthand. To me, this is where Welcome Tour shines. I actually am really interested in tech. I am often outspoken about my steadily growing disdain of gimmick-centered experiences, but I really do love playing around with novel new stuff. And these tech demos give you space to really zoom in on these features, take your time playing around with them. Over the entire Switch 1 generation, the absolute best use of HD Rumble was found in like one single minigame in 1-2 Switch. And playing around with that required, playing 1-2 Switch. So I am genuinely thankful that Welcome Tour lets me shake maracas filled with either a bunch of little balls or one big ball. No time limit, just some fun little options to mess around with, and that's it. I can just shake my Joy-Cons around and enjoy the novelty to my heart's content. And there are demos that similarly let you play with the strength and frequency of the rumble and the sounds that can be produced by the physical hardware. Those are really cool. This has always been really fascinating, but this is the first time I've been able to really explore it all. Then there are demos for just about every major feature or aspect of the Switch 2, frame rates, upscaling, 3D sound. There's one that shows how if you map the pixels together, the entire first level of the original Super Mario Brothers can fit within a 4K display, and it lets you carve your way across your TV while you play. I just think that's too cool. The second major attraction here is the mini-games. These are also essentially tech demos, but ones that have been turned into actual bite-sized games where you win or lose. These also show off all sorts of features and ideas, though there is a particular focus on mouse controls, seeing as that's the Switch 2's only real gameplay-enabling new feature. These games certainly ran the risk of being over way too quickly, so Nintendo made sure to throw in some genuinely tough challenges to add a little bit of longevity to the experience. In many cases, it is quite tricky to perform well enough to earn all 3 medals. There were some that I really struggled with. And then from there, you'll unlock 1 or 2 more difficult versions of each game. And yeah, these can be downright hard, really requiring a lot of repetition and a big skill investment. Fortunately, each game is rarely more than a few moments or even seconds long, and you can reset instantly. I'm not much of a score chaser, but if you're really into replaying and mastering micro games, you will have a lot of fun here. There are some genuinely clever ideas on display, very novel little experiences. And again, many of them scratch that same itch that the tech demos do. Trying to spot individual pixels or find the one tiny spot on the screen that makes the Joy-Con rumble the hardest. It is incredibly fun, despite being so simple. Yeah, like I said, it's just nice to have the ability to play with these ideas all by themselves. Clearing tech demos and getting good scores in minigames earns medals, and this is another way the game offers a sense of progression. Many experiences can't be unlocked until you've earned a certain number of medals. Usually only the higher difficulties are gated off by significant numbers, and this whole thing really won't feel like much of a limitation unless you're rushing through the whole game and skipping stuff. So again, it's just a little something to help slow you down a smidge, stop you from getting in over your head with super hard minigames. If you're giving each attraction your attention in turn, it's not going to seem like much of a limitation. Medals obviously act as a collectible, one of a handful of kinds you'll find in Welcome Tour. You've got medals for tech demos and mini-games. Most of them are in the mini-games. You've got the insights quizzes, you've got the stamp rally, and you've even got dropped items to return to the lost and found desk. If you like filling out checklists, this just might be your game. Sure, you technically can't earn everything yourself if you don't own all of the featured hardware. For instance, I do not yet have a Pro Controller or an official Switch 2 camera, so I haven't even been able to play the related demos and games. But the game does let you kind of cheat and bypass this and get all the medals and stuff for free if you want, so that's nice. The real issue here is that there really aren't any rewards for completing and collecting everything or anything. For the most part, the best you're gonna get, even for getting to the end of the game itself, is just like a little congratulations pop-up, just like a whee, you did it. That's it. And I really thought the lost items were gonna do something, because that's not actually related to the Switch 2 or its features whatsoever. But no, even that just puts a little star on your map tab. Okay. It's all really about the fun of doing, of simply having the experience, I suppose it's like a museum in that way as well. You're not in this to get something, you're in it to explore and have a good time. The intrinsic sense of accomplishment is supposed to be enough, I guess. Again, the value of Switch 2 Welcome Tour is going to depend entirely on the person. If you like twitchy little mini games to try over and over again until you perfect them, especially ones that utilize unique control styles, this is probably a game for you. If you like casually exploring and picking up collectibles and filling out checklists, you'll probably also have a good time. Personally, I am not super into those things, but if you're like me and just enjoy playing around with cool tech and learning about how it works, there's a good amount to enjoy here. Welcome Tour definitely isn't for everyone. It's not a system-defining, must-have piece of software like Wii Sports. And yeah, it probably should have been free. But as a standalone experience, outside of the greater let's all be mad at Nintendo context, I'll say it, I think it's worth $10. I do. It's charming, it's refreshing coming from Nintendo, and at its absolute worst, it's a neat little toy to mess around with. I feel like I've gotten $10 of enjoyment out of it at least. Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? I'm a little monster. I'm a little monster. This game should have been free. How many times do you have to say that before you recognize that hurting yourself with endless frustration won't change reality? Yeah!